What's up, everyone? My name is Philip Hensler,
And I'm Adam Richmond.
and we're your co-hosts for today's PATS Technology Committee podcast. We started this podcast to initiate a conversation with the members of the athletic training community in Pennsylvania in the hopes that we can engage and foster relationships in the state, explore emerging settings, and provide a unique perspective into the day in the life of an athletic trainer. All right, today I want to thank today's guest, Jess Falvo, for taking the time out of her busy schedule to sit down and chat with us. Jess, thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
A little bit of background. Jess is a licensed athletic trainer at Brashear High School in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She's also a team leader with the UPMC sports medicine program.
That's right.
Jess, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. So professionally, I went to school at Clarion University. They had the Clarion CalU dual degree program at the time. So I received my bachelor's of science in athletic training and in liberal studies. Then I went to Westminster for grad school. I was an intern athletic trainer there for about a year and a half before taking my first job back out in Clarion County. So I bounced back and forth from New Wilmington to Clarion. But then I worked up in Clarion County for about 4 years, and then I made the move down to Pittsburgh, and I've been with UPMC sports medicine ever since.
Jess, could you just tell us a little bit about your how you've progressed through the UPMC process and maybe some specifics about how that works at UPMC?
Okay. Yeah. So I started out as an AT1. We have a career ladder within the department. And as an AT1, work, do your job every day, going to your school, helping out with whatever needs helping out. And especially with my school, I was a little bit lower on my hours per se. So I got to experience a lot of things like working in the doctor's office, down at sports. I worked with a minor league soccer team, girls soccer team called Steel City Football Club. And I did little things here and there to kind of help build my hours up. So after that, I became an athletic trainer too. I was in charge of a committee called the Staff Engagement Committee. And so I did that for about a year and a half. I also was at our newsletter, The Water Cooler. I put that together for a couple years. And then I was promoted to team leader it's almost been 2 years now. And so now I'm in a supervisory role where I have a region of people underneath me. So right now I'm with the Pittsburgh City Schools, and also Keystone Oaks is part of my group as well. So it's been kind of a process. I've been here now about 6 years, and I feel like I've progressed pretty well, and I really enjoy what I'm doing. So I think that's a testament to the department.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So can you just maybe tell us a little bit, what's a typical day look like at your high school? Are you the only athletic trainer at the high school?
So yeah, so Pittsburgh Public Schools is one quote unquote high school contract. But there's 6 high schools within that area. So there's 6 athletic trainers. But yeah, at my high school, primarily at Brashear, I am the sole athletic trainer there. So I usually, in the morning, I get up, I do my administrative duties. I do any follow-up with parents, coaches, get all of that stuff out of the way before I come into work. I come in around 2 p.m. I get practices ready, have kids show up for therapy, game day set up for whatever is coming at me that day. But specifically with practices, my school is a little triage-like. We have a busing schedule. So the busing schedule has like activity buses after school from at 4:30 and at 5:30. So most of the practices have to be done by 5:30. So everybody's in after school using whatever facility they have. And so it can get a little crowded in my room.
Yeah, for sure. And now you're saying if it's just practices that day, they're done by 5:30?
Most of the time, yes. Now, it's not with every city school, but my school primarily is very much like, because where our school is located, there's not a lot of walking opportunity or busing. A lot of people have to use like the Pittsburgh Transit. A lot of people don't have just like a school bus that goes out to their house. So it's a little challenging with that coordinating. So it just makes it easier for the coaches, it makes it easier for the kids to get them on the activity bus.
With that setup, do you notice, do you have a hard time with like rehab, follow-up?
Oh my
does that
gosh.
kind of hinder things for the athletic training room?
Definitely. Rehab is usually non-existent. I give them 3 exercises. I always say, I'm going to give you 3 exercises. I need you to do these. A lot of times it's home exercise program based. If I can't take care of them in-house, I do have a good relationship with a couple of the PTs in the surrounding area. So I'm able to refer them out, but I try to keep them in as much as I can. But usually the 3 exercise rule has been doing pretty well. And it kind of, it's
Cool.
the ones that want to be fixed, they will come in and religiously do it. And then you'll see like the ones that are kind of just there for the athletic showmanship, they'll just hang out, or they won't even show up eventually. So.
What about games and contests? What's that schedule look like? Do those go later? Do those have to be wrapped up
So
by
yeah, sometimes they'll
5:30?
go a little bit later. My typical day, if I have games, will end about 9:30. But it's not. It's a rarity to end that late. That's probably the latest scenario. So I have a very good setup hours wise with athletic training. It's very atypical.
Yeah, and then I'm just curious. Being, I'm in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, so kind of middle of nowhere, and obviously all of our fields and facilities are centralized. It sounds like maybe yours are not. Do you have to travel different places for home games?
Yeah. So in the wintertime, there's hardly any travel. In the fall, we have practices offsite. We have games at a centralized location in the city. So, but it's not near the high schools. It's kind of everybody meets at one spot. So in the Pittsburgh area, I would say all of our football and soccer and field hockey contests, everything there is all at, it's a stadium called Couples Stadium. And that is in the south side of Pittsburgh. But some of our practices and games can go to a place called Shenley Park, which is out towards the eastern side of the city. There's also fields up in the north side. So it just is a matter of where everything is scheduled. And we do a really good job. We have a site coordinator with our within PPS who he takes care of all of the scheduling. So if I have a game at Brashear, but there's a game also at Couples, and then another one of my athletic trainers has a game at Couples after, they may just stay at Couples and cover both events while I can cover my other event. So it's nice. We have a good relationship being able to figure out extra coverage needs.
No, that's great. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's like you're multiple schools, but you're one big team. I think that's a really cool part of athletic training. What is your favorite part of the job?
Oh, so mainly it's interacting with my athletes. My athletes are awesome. They are super appreciative, I think, because they don't get a lot of care as far as most of my athletes. I can't say that for all of them, but a lot of them don't get that care, and that someone actually wants to take care of me. Someone wants to make me feel better. So I love seeing the attitude on my kids when we do a couple rehabs, or if I give them some information, even taping an ankle, they're like, oh my goodness, thank you, Miss Jess. Like, thank you so much. Even even last night, I was getting everything taken down from a game that we had, and it, at the end of the night, it's quiet. I'm pushing all my stuff back into my room, and this athlete comes in with the rest of my stuff, and he's like, oh, here. And he drops it down for me. He's like, do you want me to dump the water out for you? Do you want me to do this? And I'm like, you want to help me? Like, he
That's
goes, you help
awesome.
me all the time. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's really nice. Like, stuff like that. It's just, it was really, it made me feel really good. And it made me feel like, okay, so these kids do appreciate what I do.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Jess, I mean, that's why we get into this, right? To help people. And when they finally, let you know that they appreciate your help, that it goes a long way. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I never thought I was going to be a high school athletic trainer. When I was in college, everybody said college athletic training is the way to go. And so when I got my first job in high school, I just loved it. And I realized, like, okay, this is my niche. Like, this is where I need to be.
Nice.
What so let's expand on that a little bit from being at the high school. What really speaks to you about being a high school athletic trainer? Why is that your niche?
So I feel like, well, and the majority of the schools that I've worked at also were underdog schools. So I'm also a fan of the underdog, where they're small. I worked in small school settings where the kids are like out in the country. There's not a whole lot to do out there. They're smaller but scrappy, those types of things. And then coming here and working with Brashear, we have just a lot of odds stacked against us. I work with a bunch of many different cultures, and working with many different cultures, they don't always understand or work well together themselves. So you have a lot of really great athletes, but they need to be able to work together. And just seeing that kind of interaction um, is interesting. But I think I've just always really wanted to care for high school kids, because they still don't know. They think they know it all, don't they? but they don't. They want to. They don't know why they're hurting. They don't know why it's taking so long to get better. And it's nice to be that advocate for them, to say, you know what, like, it's going to be okay. I'm going to get you through this. You're going to be so much stronger afterwards. And just, again, the way that they appreciate you after you've taken care of them is huge.
That's
Great.
awesome.
I'm curious, Jess, have you had any challenges due to the cultures?
Yes.
Any language barriers or anything that you've found challenging, and how have you overcome that?
So
Any tips for young professionals out there?
Oh man. So during the school day, it's great. I have a lot of resources. We have a few interpreters, because we are very multicultural. I can't tell you offhand how many different cultures we have, but they're from everywhere. And so we do have that option. There is also a phone number that you can call during the school hours that will help interpret or speak with parents. But if it's something immediate after school, it's a lot more challenging, because I don't have an interpreter. I don't have a phone number to call. So I sometimes have to rely on the kids themselves knowing English and their language to be able to interpret to their parents what's going on.
Which can be challenging in itself.
Man.
Or what I know, even just personally, right? Like what you tell the athlete, and then you hear the athlete tell their friend what you told them, and it's completely wrong.
It's like a game of telephone, and you don't know what's going to actually be said at the end. I had a pretty serious injury occur this year with one of my athletes, and the parent knew some English, but he was in the car, and I'm like, I need you to come to the facility so I can explain it to you face to face. And that seemed to help a lot more. If that face to face contact is very helpful for me. But when I'm on the phone, it can be very challenging.
So you would say trying to bring them in and actually talking to them face to face would obviously be a lot better than trying to interpret something over the phone.
Right, definitely. I've used Google Translate. I've done a bunch of different ways, and also not only with like the language barrier, but some cultures have certain rules and regs, and you need to know what's going on with them. So we're lucky. We have a service called Culture Vision that has all of the information. It's like an encyclopedia of cultures, and
that's awesome.
It's been very helpful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, is that put out by your school district, or is that put out by your employer?
So it's put out by my employer, but my school district also has something very similar. So I didn't realize that until after I was doing my research for a talk that I was doing about culture. I'm like, oh, this is all really good stuff. I wish I would have known this beforehand.
That's awesome. Now, are those resources publicly available, or only to like the Pittsburgh Public School one? If somebody's interested.
Sure. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, but I know if you go on the Pittsburgh Public Schools website, they have a ton of information, and you can even, so if we have our, let's say our SIPI form posted on the website, there is a way that you can have those things translated into your language. So there's, I think they have like 15 different translating things on the actual website. You can click a button and it translates the whole page for you.
Okay. Man, I could think of a ton of times that would have been helpful as a young professional.
Right.
Or even nowadays. Yeah, that's awesome.
Great. Well, Jess, moving on. That was great. Kind of thinking over your career, what do you think might be the coolest experience you've had so far? Any memorable experiences?
Oh, I do have a memorable experience. I don't think it was the coolest experience. I mean, I could be punny and say it was the coolest experience. But when I worked at Clarion High School for about a year and a half, and we traveled up to, I want to say it was Bradford, PA, somewhere up like closer to New York for a state playoff game. And it was abnormally snowy. I mean, it was normal snow for Pennsylvania, but lately I feel like we don't get any snow. But it was so bad. The weather was so snowy. Every quarter they had to plow the lines because you couldn't see them. And then at the half, they had to plow the whole field because there was like a good 3 inches just laying on there. It was so cold. I remember I brought a chicken soup broth to the kids because I was like, everybody's gonna be so cold, and everyone was so thankful that I brought the chicken soup for halftime. They were like, oh my gosh, I'm freezing. I've never used so many hot hands in my life, and it was very blustery, but that was one of the most memorable experiences.
That didn't happen to be over like a Halloween weekend, did it?
Oh my gosh.
I had a very similar experience, but I remember it being a Halloween weekend, and same thing. They had to plow the snow, and I was like, why are we even having this game?
It was so bad. I was like, how are we doing this?
Yeah.
We ended up losing. It ended up not faring in our favor, but I'm
guessing the game went quickly as well because they probably ran the ball a lot, not a lot of throwing.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
But that was my most memorable. I think the coolest thing has been in 2018, I want to say. Yeah, I was nominated and awarded AT of the Year in our department. and that it was nominated by a peer and voted on by our peers. So I thought that was really cool. I've never had any kind of accolade, but being AT of the year was a really nice, thoughtful gesture from.
Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. That was really, it was really nice.
And you're in a staff of what, somewhere around 100 athletic trainers?
Yeah.
So to get picked out for that sounds like a really big honor.
Yeah, it was. It was very nice.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
So you've had a really diverse career. I mean, you've come in as an AT1 all the way up to team lead, working in inner city school, college settings. How has your AT career evolved throughout the years? Or how have you evolved?
Okay. So as an AT specifically, I've only been an athletic trainer for 10 years. And I mean, I guess right now it kind of seems like that's a long time for some people. But I've only been in AT for 10 years, so I'm still considered a young professional, which I appreciate. But I think the evolution of myself, I'm a lot more comfortable. I'm a lot more comfortable with my evaluative skills, all my skills and techniques that I do at the school. I'm much more comfortable with parents and with coaches and with teachers and staff. When I first started, I felt like I was like, I didn't learn this in school. I mean, we did, but I was like, I don't know how to deal with a parent that's yelling at me because their kid isn't playing. I didn't know how to really converse with people back and forth on that. And I feel like I'm not as green anymore. So I'm not like a newbie. I feel like instead of being the mentee, I'm the mentor. I feel like working in a more supervisory role, I tend to take on more of a mentorship rather than a delegator or a supervisor in a sense. So I think that evolution has meant so much more to me because I always appreciate the relationships that I've built with other athletic trainers and my athletes, and seeing the evolution of them from my athletes to being, working force individuals and my other athletic training staff friends that are doing all these awesome things. It's really cool to see that evolution. And I'm hoping that I get to, have that look from somebody else. So, but no, I just, going from the mentee to the mentor has been huge for me. I love helping people, and not just athletes. I just love helping everyone. So.
No, that's a perfect segue into my next question, Jess. So as you are obviously still a young professional, but more experienced young professional, do you have any piece of advice for other young professionals who maybe are just starting out, and kind of to help their evolution, maybe, skip some of the hiccups that maybe you went through?
I always say become best friends with your support staff, everyone, not just your coaches, not just your athletes, your janitorial staff, the security guards. If you haven't, I mean, we have security guards and police at our school. I've become very good friends with them. Those relationships will help you in so many ways with those quote unquote the minor hiccups. Finding someone to wash your towels, or finding a place to wash your towels at the school, that took me almost a year, because I wouldn't see my janitorial staff sometimes, because they came in much later after I had left. So I would try and leave little notes to the people that were working with me or that were cleaning up my office after I left. I'm like, thank you so much. I don't get to see you, but I appreciate you. And you'll see the difference with those little things. My room was much cleaner. My things were like, if I needed extra tissues, they would drop off a couple boxes of extra tissues. If they noticed my my supply getting low? Little random things like that. But just become friends with your support staff. That's number one.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I think I do the same, and knowing them by name, I think goes a really long ways. Just know, hey, janitor, right? Like it's, you know them by their name and you talk to them on a regular basis, just goes a long way. I completely agree, Jess.
Yeah.
Especially locking yourself out of your athletic training room, which was my go-to move in the middle of winter. Security, knowing your security guard and being like, hey, I did it again. I was like, all right, Phil, I'll be right there. I mean, yeah. Jess, what's your dream job? We're calling this the lightning round. So Adam and I are going to bounce a bunch of quick questions off you, take as long as you want, as detailed as you want to be. But first one, what is your dream job?
Okay, so it has absolutely nothing to do with what I do now, but I've always wanted to be a singer. I'm terrible at singing, but that's really what I wanted to be. I saw myself before American Idol came out. I was like, I'm going to be a star. And well, it hasn't happened, but I'm okay with it right now. But back
I said, do you want to give us a demo?
Oh, huh?
Do you want to give us a demo?
Oh no, I don't think you can do a demo. But that's really honestly what I wanted to be until I was told one day I'm tone deaf. So like, great, thanks.
All right, well, Jess, what do you do for fun? What outside athletic training? What do you like to do?
All right, so I love music. I love going to concerts. I do like sporting events. I like going to those as well. And so with Pitt and the Steelers and Penn's games and things like that in Pittsburgh, I'm all about that. But I really like to spend my downtime down. So I like to draw and paint. I actually have a little side hustle with my drawing and my painting. Right now it's puppy portraits. They're a big thing right now.
Shameless self-promotion. Go for it.
Oh yeah.
That's why we're here. Get it out there.
That's awesome. Yeah.
You
Puppy
got a
portraits,
website?
all me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to draw and paint. I like to read. I like to relax. I like to catch up on movies and TV. So that's I'm it's a little boring, but I enjoy being that.
That's cool. What inspires you?
Oh. So what inspires me? Probably the potential to see the good in everyone, like the potential in general. When I see someone doing an act of kindness for somebody else, that's the stuff that inspires me. When I see good things happening to good people, that inspires me. Even when I see bad things happening to good people, that inspires me to help and want to be a part of something, to take that away, take that pain and bear away from them. But just the potential to see the good in others really is what inspires me. Great.
Yes, that was good. I've been only our second episode, but I feel like we've gotten some really good answers to that one, and that was another great answer.
Thank you.
So the last question here, if you had to sum it up in just a few words, what does it mean to be an athletic trainer to you?
It means taking care of my athletes and being their healthcare advocate. Like they don't really have a lot of people to tell them, how the reason why they're feeling the way that they do, or they don't have the accessibility of getting to a doctor right away, or the accessibility of being able to articulate why they're not feeling right. And so being that person for them to tell coaches, hey, so-and-so needs to sit out because they're truly having some things going on, or being that person to talk to their parent, hey, this is what's going on, X, Y, and Z. This is what needs to happen. I think that being that healthcare advocate is huge. And especially at the position that I'm at, it's a lot of people just kind of let things go because that's what they've always done. And so now when they meet an athletic trainer, they wonder, well, like, I never knew that you had to take a person to the ER to get an x-ray for something that could be broken. Like, like the things that you think are simple in our athletic training mind, a lot of kids and parents just don't understand, because their mind doesn't work in that athletic trainer mentality. Their minds are getting from day to day, getting to their job, getting their kids on the school bus, getting their kids homework done, that kind of thing. So
exactly. AT's care, right? And every high school should have an athletic trainer. For sure. Well, Jess, you've been awesome to chat with, and I just want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy day and just sharing your story with us. Do you want to, if any young professionals out there or any listeners have any questions, where can people maybe find out more about you or reach out to you?
Oh, so I can give you my Gmail email. It's jess.falvo, F as in Frank, ALV as in Victor, O, @gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I'm on a ton of those Facebook athletic trainer groups. I'm under the secondary schools. I follow PATS. I follow literally anything athletic training related. So you might see my face somewhere.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, Jess. And I just want to say thank you to our viewers. Thanks for listening. Let us know what you think about this format. And if you have any ideas on topics or guests or anything you would like to hear, please let us know. You can comment below. And until next time, I'm Adam Richmond.
And I'm Philip Hensler.
This was the PATS Podcast.